I always found it helpful to keep a journal, like just like a scripture study journal, and I guess mine are more or less helpful in varying degrees. But what I found most helpful in just preparing and learning the gospel for me, and I think everybody's got their own method of learning, but to keep a journal, and you'll continue that throughout the mission. But for me, it set really kind of a good tone for, okay, this is how my mind learns, and it's how I can receive revelation. So I think in some ways that's helpful, I guess, but perhaps the more helpful advice would be to learn how you learn, to learn how you recognize the Spirit and how you receive that revelation. And you'll go on your mission and you'll learn new things about yourself, about how the Lord teaches you. I mean, I continue to learn new ways, but I think making sure that you've got just a good starting platform. Other than that, I think just a good knowledge of the scriptures. And because really you get to the MTC and they teach you how to teach, they don't teach you so much the doctrine. That's less the focus. And so make sure that you're prepared in terms of, and I'm not saying be a scriptorian by any means, but know the doctrine. And it's funny, I sometimes find myself, I'll be studying or something like that, and then there'll be some new, either not necessarily new scripture, but I'll run across some new perspective that I didn't see or hadn't recognized before, and then just kind of this flood of thoughts usually comes, and I'll just be writing. And that's helpful to the extent of I've got a recorded pattern of my own scriptural learning. I don't do as many experiences as those take more time to record and looking for the hand of the Lord, which I think honestly in some ways is a little more meaningful, at least for future generations. But yeah, I try and at least keep up to some degree on that. I'm not the best at it, but I try. I guess when you go through the temple, just internalize those covenants that you've made. I guess post-mission, I was able to serve as a temple worker in the Timpanogos Temple after I got home. It was a number of months. It was about 3 to 6 months. I didn't really keep track, but it was a really good experience being able to just be in the temple on a consistent basis. So I'd have my assigned shift that I do. So, but learning to love the temple, and I think especially when perhaps you're going to a country or a place where there's not a temple there. Your only experience may be going to the Provo Temple while you're in the MTC or whatever temple is nearby before you go. So I think just making sure that you're solidly grounded in those covenants. And that just love the Lord.